turn the skid steer off so he can hear me. So it's a proprietary process to start or stop the skid steer. That's what you get unless you buy a new fancy one. So what had happened was we put way too much gravel inside the barn when we first did that. So we ended up pulling almost all the gravel out of the barn over the last 2 days. Mostly by hand because we can only get the skid steer so far in here. So we pulled out a bunch of gravel from the back, and then we dug this trench in the center because there's going to be a wall there and we need a footer. So that's our footer trench. It goes down 10 or 12 inches. It's about 12 inches in most of it. We got rebar laid out and tied and on its little seats. We're going to end up putting polyplastic underneath that. We just wanted to get it laid out. So the floor is all level and to grade all the way around. And we've got lots of gravel outside because we had too much. Most of that gravel is going to end up on the far side of the barn over here, because we don't have enough over here yet. We've also got another load. We had a load delivered the end of last week at the bottom of the hill. So we've got a bunch of extra gravel on the road down the hill that we can grab if we need to. But we're probably going to be close to having what we need up here already. It's muddy. There's mud tracks and trails and mud holes everywhere. We got a pretty good rain a day or so ago. But we're thinking about going to get some concrete and plastic and form boards and a mixer and some more concrete tools and try to get the floor poured this week. Lean-to came out okay. We're thinking we're going to put some kind of fascia on that first board, just so it's gray like the barn and not brown like the wood. The rest of them we're going to leave unfinished, but we're probably going to paint the front or put gray metal on it. The ends, rafter tails, we're not going to put a fascia board out there, except that we're thinking about putting a gutter there just for rain collection. We could collect rain off of, that's a pretty big roof to collect rain from. We could store that for the garden. Middle of the summer, just our experience in the past with gardens is we need extra rain or extra water, and garden just does better with rainwater than it does with city water. So we're thinking we might collect some rain and put in. We've got containers for that, or we can get more containers, but we like the idea of holding on to all that. So we could probably on this corner right here or down the hill a little bit put some containers, run the gutters down into that, and be pretty close to the garden. Other than that, we're thinking towards the garden, but not really doing anything because we're busy with the barn. I ran into this wall with the skid steer yesterday, so I'm gonna have to come back and put some better fasteners in over here. It kind of held up pretty well. It popped the siding off a little bit down here at the bottom, but I put it back on and no huge harm, no huge foul on that. Bigger foul this morning was we were working on the skid steer because the battery was dead, and we've got this rope. We've been using that rope to raise and lower stuff from the loft to the floor, and I had that rope kind of half tied to the skid steer because it was holding some jumper cables up, and I went to back out and I forgot about that rope, and the rope went tight it was tied to the top of the skid steer. It went tight and it popped. So it broke that rope That's a 5,000-pound rope. It was on across a hard edge, so it probably got cut more than it broke. But it probably saw 2,000 pounds of pressure. And it was pulling diagonal on that roof rafter. So it didn't move very much. That was a pretty good test for the roof and the structure and everything. We put at least 2,000 pounds of pressure on that little point. And it didn't break anything, it didn't move anything. So I feel pretty good about hanging a little bit of weight off the roof. I won't do that again on purpose, but that was kind of a surprise. I think that's all there is to tell. This has been a lot of work just moving this gravel because it's all compacted and kind of concreted itself in with the moisture and everything. So it was hard to get out of here, and we couldn't get the skid steer to most of it. Max was no help. Where are you, Max? You're no help, are you? Anyway, got a new little ramp here that we built out of the gravel. But that'll be going away. We'll end up probably grading all this off. We're probably going to put a drain pipe from the middle of the barn here down both sides of this hill just to keep the water away from the barn. And then we'll cover that in some bigger stone than this. So I'll end up digging all this out, put some bigger stone underneath that. But right now we've got sort of a water funnel going into the barn, so we need to not leave that for long. We'll cut all that out pretty soon, but it was helpful for getting all this gravel out of here. I think that's it. We'll just back up and give you a shot of the mud in the barn, I guess. All right.